Okay. So, someone has some urgent topics. I think, Pedro, we have some issues.
Possibly, potentially, hypothetically, yeah.
Well, I think it's more than hypothetically, right? I guess. I mean, you have some real evidence that something is maybe not 100% correct.
Yeah. So for the others in the talk, what happens is that I have a mesh that I create. It runs fine with SU2. It runs to convergence. The flow field looks okay. Then I put an FFD on it, and just passing it through SU2 Dev to create the FFD does something to the mesh. The code still runs, but the results are no longer good. So weird stuff starts to happen. There's like spots that, well, not many spots, just one spot of like super high Mach number within the domain, and yeah. And starting from a result that's already converged. So just applying the FFD doesn't move any points, and so it should restart perfectly, and it doesn't.
But you were essentially running dev, but without any deformation.
Yeah, so I tried, when I first noticed it was because of that, yeah. So the first time I noticed it was just running def with zero deformation would change something, and things would no longer converge. But now for a slightly different case, same match kind of topology, just slightly different number of elements. I also see it for applying the FFD. So it's not the deformation that causes it. I think it's just the reading and then writing of the grid changes something that introduces these problems.
Can you try to just run dev with it and just use a scaling with 1?
I can't, but I suspect it's going to be the same. I mean,
I hope so.
Yeah, because computing the FFD doesn't change anything, doesn't change any points at all.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty sure it gives the same result. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I just want to have it like as a confirmation. But then it's definitely the something in the, I don't know where, in the writing of the mesh. Yeah, might be. Because we do this this reordering there. Have you tried disabling the reordering in the file in a sorting routine?
I don't think that might not be the main issue. I think so. One thing that happens is that when my original mesh has a few of those warnings about there's been a reordering of the so and so elements. You know what I mean?
The original mesh has that.
Yeah, the original mesh has this. So, well, I could never understand. I follow the VTK format guide, and I could never understand how to write my elements to avoid this warning. But
this reorientation of elements.
Yeah, of the element itself. So just switching some nodes. And when the original mesh, all my elements give this warning. So prisms, hexahedrons, hexahedra, triangles, and quadrilaterals, all of them have this warning. And after I pass it through SU2 Dev, the prisms no longer have warnings, but all the other element types still have the warning.
Okay. Okay, yeah, then it's maybe, yeah, because it's doing some reorientation and it also writes it in the mesh for it then. But
yeah,
but apparently not correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be. Well, I hope it's not my meshes, but.
Well, they appear to
beginning.
run before you do the deformation, or before you use def. So.
Hi Tom. So I have this.
How do you generate the meshes?
Well, a load of scripts.
I see. So you're just doing these by hand, like Gmesh, or?
No, it's something I wrote in MATLAB. It's not good.
Just your own. Okay.
Yeah, it's not pretty, but it's been doing the job. And so basically, I have a mesh that for which SU2 converges fine. I pass it through SU2 Dev to create the FFD information, just to create the FFD information. And with the mesh that comes out, I get some weird like high Mach number in the middle of the domain, just even starting from a converged from a completely converged problem.
But it's fine the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before computing the FFD and so basically the only thing that SU2 Dev is doing to justify this is so it doesn't write the elements exactly in the same order, and it also reorders like the nodes of the elements according to those reorientation checks that we have. Yeah. But curiously, it does this reorientation of the elements, but then SU2 CFD still has warnings about reorienting elements when I use that mesh. So the warnings never completely go away for some reason.
Yeah, okay. I need to go back and look, but for some reason, I thought at one point with the FFD stuff, we were playing some games so that we didn't have to write the whole mesh in parallel. We would do something like write the FFD part separately and then append it to the mesh, but maybe leave some things being written in the original ordering. I would have to go look. It's been probably a couple of years since I looked at that part.
I can guarantee you that's not happening.
That's not happening.
Yeah, it's not. So what happens at the moment is also if you use FFD setting, it will just read in the mesh, do all the reordering preprocessing, and then it writes out the mesh. It's not necessary actually. We could just take the mesh that is there and just append the FFD information. Well, no, not exactly, because the points have different IDs then.
No, the points have this. The points keep the ID. It's just the elements that change, but the global index of the points never changes.
Yeah, this is very weird.
But it's not a problem of the FFD setting. It's definitely in general dev, because, like I said, the same problem will occur if you just do a scaling of the mesh and stuff like that. So,
yeah. So I can. So I'm getting around it right now by just copying the FFD information into the original mesh, and then when I apply some deformation, the problem is there again. So then I need to fix the deformed mesh by copying the basically just by transferring the important information. So the deformed points and the deformed FFD again into the original kind of connectivity. I'm trying to do some checks. Maybe it's not a problem it's just a problem with me, but I don't know. It's weird that like the original the original mesh works and the flow field looks okay, and
yeah, I guess it has something to do with the reorientation. Maybe it's doing the reorientation, but not all the information is correctly written to the new mesh then after it has done like the reorientation or something like that. But
yeah, this is a very odd one. I can't say I've seen this. I mean, the one, I guess, hint or clue is, yeah, what Tim's saying. I would say if you're getting warnings that all of the elements essentially need to be reoriented, and then they still appear again as needing to be reoriented next time, that sounds funny to me.
yeah, all of them except the prisms. So
Okay.
the prisms are only are not reoriented on the second pass, but all the other types are still reoriented.
Yeah. And so you said no matter what you try to do, getting them properly oriented to VTK is not working from your scripts the first time.
And I write them out in the way that I think makes sense.
You have the VTK PDF, right? You know, the one that we always reference.
Yep.
Okay. Because I mean, I know people have complained about how we define our prisms because a lot of other codes, I guess, there seem to be two leading theories on how to define your prisms. We do it one way, and other codes, there's another very common way to do it. So those two don't play nicely, but everything else I think is pretty standard.
Yeah.
So I'm currently looking at the SU2 Dev routine and the pre-processing it does there with the geometry. And if I compare that with the driver pre-processing of the geometry, then there is a difference. The set point connectivity and element connectivity is not called. I don't know, maybe that's related to the problem or something like that. So it's definitely not 100% the same.
Yeah.
And do we do a reordering in the def or not? That should just be the local, but I'm curious.
No, there's no reordering done.
Oh, there must be, because the elements do not come out the same way they go in.
Yeah, but this is then the reordering in the writer, in the sorting.
Ah, interesting.
Well, but yeah, I mean, I guess you run it in parallel.
I can try and make make def as close to the driver preprocessing as possible and see what that does.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to check, because we have a related issue. Somebody reported just a couple days ago that the scaling of the grid doesn't work. I think you commented on that.
That's
Pedro.
not a bug; it's a feature.
Ah, perfect. Yeah, I'm just seeing your response.
That's always good.
the scaling that is applied to the grid is the design variable times the optimization relaxation factor.
Yep, I see that now.
And so he was applying a scaling of 0.001, and the optimization relaxation factor was 1000.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Perfect.
Just part of the learning curve, I guess.
Okay, so that's unrelated. Yeah, then I would say try to match up the geometry preprocessing and see what happens. In the CFD solver, is there a way to replicate the same thing? So if you run it and then restart or something, I guess it doesn't dump the mesh.
No, the restart's fine. So
I mean, I guess that
anyway,
not all of the pre-processing is really necessary for dev, but
yeah, exactly.
still probably it makes sense to just do all of that and compare it.
Yeah.
I could imagine that something is missing there. So it does the orientation, but maybe it has to do some stuff again then once you did the orientation, and that's maybe not done. Yeah. Maybe you can just check that.
Yeah, I will.
Good.
So, what other issues have we got?
Well, I wanted to ask Tim, I guess you about this issue that I responded to yesterday. We've had this issue open for, I don't know, a month or more. The person who was having trouble with the MPIO, and sounds like we found the problem, but then they're saying that the writing the surface flow files is hanging for like 60 seconds. Do you have any ideas about this?
I mean, what you suggested for him to do is, I mean, that doesn't really solve the problem. Right?
No,
it's just that you comment out the that it like checks the error, right?
Yeah, well, he just commented out the call that tries to delete any files on the system. So for some reason, his system setup, I think there's a problem with accessing the file system from the code, because it's not letting.
Yeah, so
it's
I don't
really
think that this is a bug in the code. It's like you said, I think it's a problem in the either the setup of the MPI or the file system or the combination of them. I don't know.
Yeah, this is weird.
It's hard to tell. I mean, I think that we have also CentOS on the cluster actually here. But I don't know which version and stuff like that. But I can at least check whether I see something like that. But
yeah, it might just be for this very particular version of the operating system. There's something that doesn't play nice with the way we're trying to access the file system. I don't know. I haven't seen this on anything else. So
yeah, me neither. This is why it's a little bit strange, actually. But maybe you should really print out the error that he gets there, like you suggested. Maybe that gives some additional hints.
Yeah, I'll follow up and ask for that and see if he can try maybe a different type of output file, and if the problem still persists. I don't know. They actually closed the issue, but I'll just reopen it. I kind of want to find out what is actually happening, see if we can improve something.
Who closed the issue? You closed the issue? No.
No, I think they did.
They did.
The person that opened it closed the issue.
Hey, but it was not solved.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll open it back up.
People get tired, and maybe he's gonna use 6.2.
Or maybe he thinks now it's a different problem. Now that it behaves a little bit different, but I don't know.
Not sure. I'll have to try to see if we can get to the bottom of it. So if we can improve something, we can improve something.
Yeah, it's definitely worth to investigate that. Or maybe, yeah, if other people have these problems, maybe they can also somehow open an issue or a comment or something like that. It's always hard to tell whether it's just a problem with that particular setup or whether we really have a bug somewhere.
Yeah, and we can't really reproduce it too easily. I don't think the people who have tried have been able to. Edwin did get a interesting warning from Valgrind about having a file identifier, like a file handle being poorly defined or something on those closed calls. So we might be doing something.
I think that's a false positive. I think at some point I looked it up and found that it was a false positive, but because there are a lot of false positives
I've seen that in the past
API.
too.
Okay.
But
I got that warning from Volgrind as well.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I always saw it, but I don't know really whether it's a problem or not. But I wouldn't trust Volgrind in that sense because
yeah, with MPI, it's always hit or miss. You get a lot of weird errors from your MPI flavor too, usually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we can check. I will double check that. Maybe the internet has some idea on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I have again a small bucket of questions.
Awesome.
So the first is concerning the website. So like the where we have the docs and the theory and all that stuff. Is there a good way to work on that, like locally on my machine, for example, or it doesn't matter, also online? And I don't want to change or again the live website, but rather like have like my own version, but have the same like the same look and feel as on the web. Because if I just open like the website locally, I think I'm missing some GitHub styles there. I think GitHub probably has something in the background running which renders the website, which I don't have on my machine.
Yeah, you can install some extra plugins for Jekyll so that it looks like the website.
Okay,
I can't
so
remember which ones, but it's definitely possible. I did that. But the other thing you can do is you can just download the Docker container from Jekyll. That always works quite well, actually.
okay, we'll try that out. Because I want to get all my stuff from the meeting on the website. Test that there. Okay. Good. I will go to the direction of Docker container and the Jekyll theme. So.
Yeah, just search for Docker Jekyll, then you probably find that you can directly pull that. It's quite easy actually.
Okay, good. The next thing is more of something I noticed with rotating frame simulations. So I checked the test cases, and we currently have neither a test case nor a regression test, which is currently working with rotating frame in the sense that the config files are old. So the config options are not up to date. So it's they have the old stuff with rotation center, and I think now it's kind grid movement is the identifier. So I just wanted to check or to know who implemented that originally. Is it the turbo machinery people who used rotating frame? So maybe, yeah.
Toby, so correct me if I misheard you, but we do have one test case now. I don't know which test cases you were looking at, but just in the pull request like a week ago, I snuck in a test case for rotating frame, so it would be under control. And it's just the rotating airfoil case. It's in the rotating directory. So if you go to test cases /rotating/NACA0012, that one is on. So I updated that config file to make sure we had something under test. Now, the two cases that are in that folder are things I did a long time ago when I was a grad student, and I didn't do much beyond. I did part of that stuff for my thesis, but that was kind of a little side project. The turbo machinery folks have used it much more. So if you look in the turbo machinery directory, I think each of those cases is probably using rotating frame, or a couple of them are, and even one or two instances where they have multiple reference frames, like multiple rotating frames in different zones. So you can check those out there.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to know if one can still has faith in the current implementation without having to extra check that.
Yeah, for the single zone cases, I mean, I reran the Caradonna and tongue rotor. There's an Inviscid case for that. I also have a Viscous case, Rand's case. And then the NACA 012 is a simple case I made a long time ago. I just kind of made it up for my thesis work, and it works quite well. It's the same results as I was seeing years ago. So I think it's all okay from what I can tell.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So that's quite nice.
At least for a single zone. I mean, we should probably check the turbo machinery ones and just make sure they're happy. But we've kept those test cases up to date, so I assume that the turbo machinery stuff is working fine too.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely have to double check. Good, but thank you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I hit kind of I just hit a weird bug, which I don't know yet exactly if I cornered it enough, but I just used the chance here to bring it up. Maybe somebody says, well, yeah, I had that as well. So first, I have two different machines. So I have basically my private and my work laptop, and they have different OpenMPI and GCC versions. And I run the exact same case with the exact same code, and with one, I get a arithmetic exception in the C system metrics, and with the other machine, I don't. And that's something I'm currently trying to corner. What's the issue there? But maybe somebody already.
What versions of GCC, Toby?
So I have the version which errors is actually the GCC 540 with OpenMPI 301, and the version that works is 4.8 GCC and OpenMPI 312.
Okay, that sounds like something I could test.
The test case is something is my so it's from my own branch. It's my own test case. So I'm not entirely sure whether it's, for example, it's quite likely or it's possible that it's my implementation.
Sorry, you broke up a bit.
Okay.
I just heard what?
It's possible that it's my implementation in my branch, but yeah. So it's a periodic test case, which so I might have implemented that stuff on my own.
Okay.
But,
and this is with optimization, compiling with optimizations or debug?
It's in debug.
Okay.
I'm not sure anymore how it was working. I think I had the problem with release, and then I switched to debug and found the issue.
Okay. With the optimizations turned on, like O2, at least O2, do you get the problem? See if you get the problem with both compilers.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely try that. I'm pretty sure that I had the same issue with optimizations on my private machine.
On both machines.
No, I think so. On one machine, I do have the problem, and on the other,
okay.
I don't. So, and I'm not sure if I tested on my work machine, but on my private machine, I had the issue with in release mode as well.
Okay, because in debug there are certain types of undefined behavior that will work, and with optimizations turned on, they will cause crashes.
Okay, I will certainly double check with release version. of the code. And therefore, I also used Tim told me to try out this FENV, so it's like floating point environment header library which you uncomment that from the SU2 CFD.cpp. I think Edwin introduced that there sometime, which is basically used to catch nans. So every time a nan or like an inf somewhere pops up, it errors.
Yeah.
And I got one I had one more error in compute mesh statistics somewhere in an Arcus cosinus, which I didn't. Yeah, that wasn't the root of the error, but it was like an additional error which popped up with the FENV library. And I would like to know
in compute what? Sorry.
In compute mesh statistics. So that's I think that's something Tom implemented some time ago.
Oh, the mesh metrics, the quality.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to know whether you already tried that yourself with FENV and had similar problems, or if that could also be a hint that it's a mesh problem.
I think I saw that before in other meshes as well, so I don't really think that this is a mesh problem.
Okay, and if you have any other, or if somebody else has an idea how to maybe, or what tools maybe to use, I would be.
So, I mean, I suspect really that this is an uninitialized value somewhere. That would explain like the difference that you see. Yeah, the question is
if it's initialized value, you would catch it with vol grind.
Yeah, but only if you use it in an if condition and somewhere, not if you use it in an operation.
No, vol grind will complain about an initialized value.
But not for operations. If you just use it in an operation, everything is fine.
What do you mean in an operation? In a
just some floating point operation. If you use nuns there, then of course it gives none. But it's not. Vagrant is not complaining. Only if there is like an if condition where like
if you have a conditional depending on uninitialized.
Yeah. Only then it gives a warning.
Okay, then make it a condition then.
But you wanna know where it occurs.
I mean, when you print the stuff, when you print the stuff out or whatever, I don't know. I don't know.
So the thing is that we already, I mean, Toby knows already where it occurs, where it crashes, but doesn't mean that this is the origin there.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. I tried to share my screen. I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So first try. Fingers crossed. So I hope you can see it. So maybe like make it one size bigger. So I'm currently in C6 matrix, and it is matrix inverse. It's a matrix inverse function, and in this weight computation, I divide by 0. So there the weight gets like an inf, and in that computation, the arithmetic exception gets thrown.
Well, that's your fault then.
Yeah, I think so as well. But
that's also what I told him.
The thing is, when I have the problem which I have is that I don't get that arithmetic exception on the other machine, and yeah, I checked out the same code. I did git fetch on both
Yeah, but wait,
machines.
Toby,
With the origin.
have you tried using the F and include also on the other machine?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's information that was necessary.
And so what do you get then that is not 0 there in the other machine?
I didn't check yet. So because I have to go up a bit in the call stack and actually catch the very node.
Yeah.
So I have the same. So I added this very little like code section here to check whether the diagonal here entry is actually 0, and that is never like hit in the on the other machine.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing that could do with that could be because of initialization, right?
Yeah, that's also what I assume actually. I mean, I think that maybe on the setup where it
Especially
works,
between
they're
such
actually
different
wrong.
compiler versions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a bit of room left to try to corner everything, and I hope I got some like strings to keep pulling at, and I'll try to go in there, and don't want to waste any more time here in that.
No, but
Okay.
yeah, just check where this occurs, what point, and whether the boundary or not, or something like that, so that you know where from which root it comes from actually.
Yeah. Yeah, therefore I need to go up in the call stack and see which point and make sure that I catch or I know what happens on the other machine for that very point, and see what's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can also try to initialize the memory of the matrix to not a number or something, or initialize it to something you control exactly, some magic number you control exactly, and then you manually trap that magic number in that routine with an assert or something.
Okay, yeah, that's also a cool idea. Yeah, that's good. By the way, because you said like you set that manually to nan or so, when I run the case with SU2 CFD80, then it works on both machines. And I think Tim said that already, because there every SU2 double is initialized with a 0 or so.
Yeah.
So with SU2 CFD80, everything works.
Yeah, which is weird because it should be the other way around then, because it should fail then with SU2AD, because there it's definitely 0.
Yeah, but I mean it's there's probably, well, actually that the matrix is passive in SU2AD. So in SU2AD those will still be doubles and not SU2 doubles.
Oh yeah, you are right actually.
But still, it can be because of something that comes from further upstream. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely smells like uninitialized value.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks all, and I will keep working on that. So
you cannot try to, when you pinpoint, like print the entire matrix that's being inverted. Just because maybe you got a 0 because the matrix is singular. That can be a problem as well.
Okay.
So maybe it's initialized. It's just a weird matrix and it's singular. If it's not all zeros.
Okay, yeah. Check. Good. Okay, that's it from my side.
Okay. Then
If there's some time, I would.
yes.
There is? Okay, because I was just about writing an email to you, Pedro, Tobias, and Tom, and maybe Tim and Vlad wouldn't mind to just listen to what I would have written. It's about the plan for the combined FSI CHD stuff that we want to do. It's also a bit triggered by some email that I received some days ago, where I was asked to write a review on a for an application for a research project that is exactly about combining FSI and CHD, and that's when I thought that maybe we should come up with some plan on how we proceed there. Maybe you're interested in just sharing some thoughts on that. So I think the both technical things that are missing right now is a heat equation is to incorporate the heat equation to the structural solver, and the other technical task would be to write an interface routine that does not only exchange tractions or temperatures, but that does exchange both. Yeah, any ideas on that, maybe?
I have a first question, Ola. If we're going to go to having all three at the same time, so heat, structure, and fluid, then could it be possible to put the heat equation inside of the finite element version of the code? Is that what you're thinking? Or are you thinking keeping the finite volume heat equation?
So what I was thinking about also, and also what Pedro has in mind, is that we should keep both, but that we also should add the heat equation to the structural solver, because that might be interesting for turbo machinery applications where we are not only interested in structural deformations due to flow tractions, but also due to changing material parameters due to different temperatures and stuff. So we should keep the heat equation for cases that are purely CHD, but if there is a combined CHD FSI case, we should also add the heat equation to the structural solver, to the structural FEM solver, I think.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think that would be a great contribution to the code, because I mean, I think most commercial packages and most applications are usually using finite element to solve the heat equation. So I think that would be a great addition.
Yeah. Or maybe in the end we could even get rid of the finite volume heat equation, but just use maybe we can set it up in such generality that we could just use the structure or the FEM solver for either elastic deformations, for heat equation, or for both. Maybe that's possible in the end.
But so what do you want to do in the short term? Is it to do? Are the stresses induced by thermal expansion important in this application, or do we just need some heated deformable thing?
So I think the application in the end is not so important because there is no such application within a project or something that we have to solve, but we could just come up with some interesting test case for whatever we develop in the code. It's just a question what we should do next. Yeah.
So right now we can, at least the primal simulation works. I didn't test the adjoint, but you can have a solid that deforms under some fluid loads, and it transfers the displacement both to the fluid domain and to a heat transfer domain.
Mm-hmm.
But so you can have a zone with it's a one-way coupling between the elasticity and the C8 and the heat zone. That's what we can currently do.
All right. Okay. Okay. Maybe I have a look at that, and yeah. And would you be interested in developing such thing so where we have a combined exchange of data both for flow traction, so for displacements and for temperatures at one boundary?
But what would be the benefit of that?
What I have in mind is this turbine machinery application where you have turbine blades that deform under flow tractions, but that are also quite hot, so that would deform differently in cold and hot states.
That's my only problem is having a PhD to finish.
Yeah, it's just I'm just asking. So there's no need to do this. I'm just curious what your ideas might be or your interests. Because that's what I would.
It doesn't sound like an easy thing to do.
Yeah, right.
Within the current structure, it doesn't sound like something that would be trivial to implement.
Yeah, sure, yeah. All right, okay, maybe we could then set up a test case for what's already possible, and then maybe, yeah, we could have another chat on how to proceed from there.
Yeah, in the pull request where I made this work, I attached a test case there that has the.
All right. Okay. That's the pull request I still have in mind, but which I didn't read so far. So that's for sure something I have to do now. Yeah, and maybe then I check for the test case and what's possible there, and maybe then maybe we can have another chat on how to proceed from there on.
Okay, because I mean, to be honest, I have no idea how to do nonlinear elasticity and thermal strains and so on.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. But that's yeah. Okay. Good to know. Maybe we should get some. Maybe that's a quite interesting task, or quite interesting would be quite interesting contribution to the code. But maybe that's a bit too much for a side project.
Yeah, for a side project, I think it would be a bit much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
But
maybe find someone who's willing to work on that, or maybe someone who wants to do a PhD on that. Yeah. let's see. It's nothing urgent. I think it's just something I wanted to talk about with you guys.
I have a question, maybe also for clarification what's possible and what's not. So currently we have the finite volume solver also for the heat equation, and as Tom mentioned, like if you would use the finite element solver for the heat equation, so if we had that implemented in the finite element solver, would that currently work? So having like two different discretizations, I think that's what Pedro is doing with FSI, right?
Yeah, they're both node based, and you just need to transfer some stuff. I guess it would work.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it should work the same way as the FSI. Just temperatures instead of displacements, and yeah, fraction.
Yeah, because I don't have any background in thermal strains in structures, so I can't give you any more insight in that, unfortunately.
Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, I have a proposal for just a very small one. So if you currently, to run the discrete adjoint solver, you have to do two things. You have to change the math problem to discrete adjoint, and you have to change the binary. So you have to run like SU2 CFD AD. What if we just set the math problem automatically as soon as you run SU2 CFD AD? I think that would simplify. Like,
I didn't quite get that. What do you want to get rid of? The option or the code?
No, just to set that manually. I mean, you can just set it automatically as soon as you run SU2 CFD AD.
Yes, I agree with that. That's one of the things I would add to my list of silly options.
Okay, perfect. Because that's what I removed right now in the. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I just said that I also agree. It's cause math problems also a bit not so nice. It's not so clear what you mean by that. I mean, if you see the options, it's clear, but maybe you could really just get rid of that. Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't want to remove it completely because it's still used for the continuous adjoint.
Yeah,
but at least we can make it like automatically.
No, just make just make that an automatic default for if you're using SU2 CFD AD, then it sets that automatically as the default.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because this way you don't have to change anything.
It doesn't break any backwards compatibility. It's just make it easier going forward, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, then I will introduce that in some pull request. I don't know.
And I would add to that the discrete adjoint linear solver settings as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's in that issue that I opened with those settings, because usually I need to, instead of, it doesn't make my life any easier. I need to change 4 settings instead of just 2.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then let me open just a single pull request, and there we can make some tweaks to the settings. That's probably helpful. Because what I also did now for the output is that I removed the customization, the output customization for the adjoint, because it makes no sense, because you always have the same values. Yeah. And that makes like error checking and stuff like that a little bit easier.
What output customization have you gotten rid of? The history?
The screen output.
Why?
The screen output and the history output.
I was using that.
Yeah, but I mean, we can just have default values there, and that's it. I mean, I don't know why you need like, well, the default values can depend on the case, of course. So it might be different for elasticity, for the adjoint elasticity, and for the flow solver. But yeah, I don't think it makes much sense to customize that.
I think the biggest issue was we found a couple times, a few people reported bugs of trying to customize what was going into the field output. I don't know about the screen and the history, but if you play around with the field output values, you might end up not writing the sensitivities on accident. Which
I mean, this is solved. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was the big one.
But the other problem that I like faced when we have that customizable is that, so right now the if like a field is not available, then it will be simply ignored, right? But when I have the expressions there, it's a little bit more complicated. And the only other way to do that is to have separate options for the primal solver and for the adjoint solver for the screen output option. So that's why that problem occurred to me. And I don't think it makes much sense to customize that at all. We can just write out everything we have, and that's it, because it's not very much. But if you have other opinions, of course, I'm also open to that. I mean, who was really customizing the output for the adjoint?
Yeah, I can live with it. I can say I
was
wasn't.
changing them
I'm
because
sure
I
other
don't like the defaults.
Yeah, I mean, we can change the defaults, of course. So that means on the screen we just have like 4 or 5 columns, and in the history just write out everything that we have, everything that's defined. I mean,
and we have there's so all the residuals on the adjoint have the adjoint infix. Well, it's in the middle, so it's an infix, I guess. And it just causes trouble anytime that you switch from primal to the adjoint. You need to change those things. I would say if we touch them, they should have the same names as the primal, if that's possible.
Well, can you give an example? I don't know what you mean.
Yes. So in the primal you have RMS density, RMS residual density. In the adjoint you have RMS adjoint residual density. Yeah.
And what would be your proposal then? To get rid of the adjoint?
Yeah, just have it as RMS residual density, and then you didn't, and then you would not have to change the config file so much between primal and adjoint. But of course, if you don't allow customization, this is not a problem anymore.
Yeah, we could make it dependent on what you set for the primal, essentially. That would be another solution. We could say, okay, if you set like RMS density, then automatically for the adjoint, we have the adjoint version of that.
Yeah. I think that would make sense.
So it's kind of customizable, but yeah. Because that enables like much better error messages. Otherwise, the values are simply ignored, and that's like, yeah, it's not very good actually.
Yeah, and you always get error messages. You get the error message when you process the primal output, and you get the error message when you process the adjoint output.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, we can maybe put it in this. Well, I will put it in the new output thing, which, by the way, should be ready maybe in a month or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. Then we all agree here, I think, because then it is much easier to just switch from the primal to the adjoint, because then you don't have to change anything actually.
Yeah, Tim, I was just going to say I like the idea of switching from, or having it automatically detect from the primal. what you put in the adjoint. Because if you already care about something in the primal, then you probably would care about it in the adjoint. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with that, guys, I'm sorry, I have another call here at 8, so I have to jump off. But like usual, thanks for putting this on. So I'll talk to you guys next week.
Okay.
See you
Bye,
next
Tom.
week.
Okay, later, guys.
Well, I mean, that's it from me too. I mean, I don't know if there are some other things someone wants to talk about.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Then, yeah, okay. Then I would say we just.
Oh, do you want to merge
leave it
your
at that?
iteration thing? Is your iteration thing finished? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I saw that you did some small changes, but that's fine, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I just fixed automake and other things that you would forget.
Perfect. Proactive. I like that. Yeah, no, that can be merged, actually. I mean, I don't think that anyone else has a comment.
All right, we'll give it a day or two, and if no one says anything.
Yeah. And then we have almost everything divided, right?
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think if there's anything on there. Oh yeah, I will deal with the stuff we have left in the common directory.
Yeah, it's only grid. Yeah, there's the MPI, there's grid adaptation, so on.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, grid adaptation should be removed. The graph coloring probably can go geometry. Well, is it even there anymore? Maybe it's just a leftover on my side.
Is it used?
I don't know. Maybe you already moved it somewhere, stuff like that. I don't know.
No, I haven't moved it. I'm just asking if it's used anywhere in the code.
I thought you were using it.
No, the one I use is in the toolboxes.
These are two different things. Okay, I was confused for a second because I also saw the graph link from you, and I was okay. I don't. Yeah, it is used. It's in the F. Yeah, maybe we can move it to the FEM directory actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then I will move it and rename it. I will just move it without renaming it.
And the multi-grid queue, I guess, can go into geometry.
I don't see that file. Where's that file?
Multi-grid.
Multi-grid queue. Yeah, I see. That can go. Oh. I think it makes sense. Yeah.
And for the MPI and OpenMP stuff, I was thinking of having a folder just called parallelization.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But we probably rename these files then, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I can do with the rest if you want.
Well, I think Giant was gonna do move the
grid
movement
adaptation,
and grid adaptation and grid movement as well. He was gonna do something about that.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, then I will leave that for him. And just move the other ones there because they're quite simple. What about these are all like stuff. I don't know. Is the blast structure used somewhere?
Yeah, it's used in the DG solver too.
Okay.
I don't know. We can put it in toolboxes. I don't know, or linear algebra.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably there's several folders where that would fit.
Oh, and the ADT structure. Someone was gonna do something about the ADT structures too, right? Was it Giant?
Yeah, we wanted to move it to toolboxes, I think.
Toolboxes, you think? I mean, I think it would deserve a folder because it has a lot of subclasses.
Yeah, we're also fine with that. So you want to split it?
I think that's what Giant said he would do, but I'm putting him in the spot and he's not here.
Well, okay, then that's it. We can ask him. We can ask him again.
Yeah, next week or something. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I can deal with the parallel thing if you want.
Okay, I already created the folder in the draft pull request I have on the vectorization.
But you've not moved the OMP structure or the MPI structure there.
No. I just created like a folder with that kind of category for this kind of.
You have other stuff in there already.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Then that's almost finished, and then at some point we can try to merge include source.
Yeah, the HPPs and the CPPs and yeah.
Yeah, good thing that we make progress there. Okay.
All right. Happy debugging, people. I'm off to.
Yeah. That's like what you have to do. Okay, then have a nice week. And then talk to you next week.
Yeah, see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.